name is Paul Fleuranges. I am Vice President for Corporate Communications at New York City Transit. In that capacity, I'm in charge of customer and employee communication. And what we're doing here at Digital Signage Expo 2016 here in lovely Las Vegas is looking at all the new technology that's out in digital signage. We have 169 interactive kiosks in the subway system. We're installing another 180 this year. So we're looking to see what the trends are, what we may need to look at, content management systems, touch technology. We're also looking forward as we think about installing more what we call countdown clocks in the subway that show arrival times. So for my IT people who aren't here, even though I told them to come, I'm here looking at new technology for that. This system started as a pilot with Cisco about 5 years ago, and it has since evolved. So we were always the end user, and always wanted to figure out a way to manipulate our data to our customers in system at what we like to call the point of transit decision making, informing them as they enter or whether they're on the platform, if something's going on, what's going on, and what their alternatives are. If they're on the platform and don't know how to get somewhere, using interactive technology to help them plan their route using our kiosks. So we've been involved from the beginning, so it's kind of our baby. I like to say I don't have a dedicated team, but I have a team of dedicated people from my other support departments who help. New York City Transit is a big bureaucracy, right? We run a 110-year-old subway system, a 100-year-old bus system. Within that organization are areas of expertise that we relied on to help install these kiosks. My IT people for doing the coding and programming, my capital programs communications department, which is helping us with our wireless technology, our electronic maintenance division who does the installation and does the monitoring, our in-house capital construction people who work on installation. So, like I said, it's not a dedicated team, but I have a team of dedicated people that support this project in addition to the other jobs that they do. When we first started, we weren't thinking about order, and having since come here for the last 4 years, and having, taken my DSE, EG, certification class, I can tell you that we did not look at objective first. We were looking to test the technology, and because it was cool, it was new. As we roll out the technology, we're more looking at content going forward. But I think I need to step back and explain to you how we got to this point. We have two private sector partners who are basically footing a large percentage of this bill. They are buying the kiosk, designing the user interface, and recouping that capital investment through digital advertising. So they have most of the lead, but as we move forward, that advertising share of voice is going to diminish and more of our content is going to take over the screen. So as we look forward to that, we look at content. What kind of content? Train arrival information, emergency information, delay information, general marketing messages, safety messages. So we're looking at all that and how to incorporate that into the screen so that it's engaging and that it's contextually relevant. I like to tell my staff that at the intersection of location and information is context. If I'm at a station, at a screen, and something's going on, tell me about it, but tell me from where I am what my alternatives are. What are my options, right? So if the number 6 train is down because there's a sick customer in downtown Brooklyn, how does that affect my trip from where I am? Tell me how to get to where I need to go. So that's important for us as we look forward to content. The thing that I see, the industry trends that I see here is like the 4K and the multi-touch screens. They're beautiful. They're eye-popping. You drool when you walk by them, literally. But then you think back. We're in a 110-year-old subway station. We've got steel dust. We've got water penetration in some areas. We've got temperature changes that, in the summer the place heats up like you wouldn't believe, and when it's cold it gets really cold. So that technology probably wouldn't work in the system that we have today. Maybe in some future stations they would if they are incorporated into the original conceptual design. But those kind of trends, 4K, really strong HD, the video walls. We'll never necessarily have video walls in the subway, but it's good to look at. There might be some use cases going forward, but at the moment, not necessarily for us, but they are exciting, they're invigorating, they make you go back and tell people, look, you should really see this, it's really cool. But for the subway system in 2016, probably not. Even though we are in the process of outfitting with our partners Transit Wireless connectivity in all subway stations, that still kind of limits some of the things that we can do because our bandwidth isn't necessarily as much as we want it to be. And so while we are using wireless connectivity at where we can, because it's faster, it's a less expensive installation, there still are some limitations in some stations with wireless. The advice I would give to somebody who's just launching their first ever digital signage is to step back, take a breath, and really figure out what your objectives are. What do you want that sign to do? Where's the sign going to go? What's the content? What's the message you're trying to communicate, whether you're in retail, hospitality, healthcare, transportation? All those verticals have different use cases, have different areas within a facility that you need to communicate certain information to certain people. It's not necessarily one message and one size fits all. You really have to step back and look at what am I trying to achieve and not get caught up into everything that's shiny and glitters that's gold. Because yes, it's shiny, it's glitters, it's gold, but if you buy the wrong hardware or have the wrong content management system and you can't push out your messaging or you're limited in some way, having a great shiny system is not going to work, and the CFO is going to ask you, what'd you do with my money? Right? And there's another thing to also think about. There's return on investment, and then there's return on objective. And that's what you have to figure out. What return are you really providing to your organization? What's the value add? In some cases, it may not be return on investment because maybe the signs won't generate income. But the return on objective in helping people get information faster, get it more intuitively. We have a generation of kids that are now growing up, all they know is touch. Right? Everything that they touch, everything they see, they expect to be able to touch, move, whatever. I have a friend of mine who told me a story that cracked me up. She had a 2-year-old, and he played with his iPad. Then he went to the TV and was watching a cartoon and wanted to stretch the cartoon on the TV. Couldn't do that. Not yet. But when they see a screen, kids want to go. They want to touch it. When we first rolled out our on-the-go kiosk, we had this clear split in demographics as to who knew what the screen was. People 35 years and under went up there, touched the screen, got the information they wanted, moved on. People 45 and older were looking at it, watching the content, not knowing they could touch it. But once they saw someone touch it, the aha moment went off. So again, who's your audience? And what information, what are you trying to achieve in your digital signage rollout? It's not just good enough to want the shiny toy because everybody else has it. Right. Get for what you need and make sure that what you're getting is going to last you the long haul. I think the biggest challenges are standardization. We need to, as an industry, come together over standards, right? Especially when you talk about the change and the sea change in advertising. Everything is data-driven now. Advertisers want to know who they're reaching, when they're reaching, because they have different sets of data from other sources. So if, as an industry, we want to plug into that money, right? If we want to plug in and pull that money from TV or from radio, print, or even from mobile or digital, right? We all know that online fraud is huge. The great thing about digital signage is there's no fraud. The message that plays. And we can prove that. So let's take advantage of that. Let's get together, get some industry standards, get some industry protocols in place so that everybody's working on the same playing field. There's more than enough pie for all of us, but we have to go out there and get it and make sure the piece of the pie we're getting is the right size of the pie. It's important. I mean, you look at ad bots from Eastern Europe. No offense to my Eastern European friends. Ad fraud, mobile. People look at ad blocking software. The amount of people using ad blocking software has grown exponentially. That doesn't exist on digital signage, right? And it's been proven that people who see digital signage, a message on digital signage along the path to purchase, are more inclined to at least go in the store. Maybe they don't buy that day, maybe they'll buy the next day. So we can prove that to marketers, we can prove that to brands. Let's take advantage of that, but let's get some standards in place so that we're all on the same playing field. We're going to work on that with the DSF. We're members of other organizations, and we want to push that through. We want to make sure that everybody is connected, right? There are a lot of different organizations working on different pieces of the pie. I think those people need to sit down at the table like adults, realize we're all working with the same common cause and for the larger good of the ecosystem in mind, whether they're operators, manufacturers, mount people, everything that we can do to lift the organization or lift the ecosystem, right? They say all boats rise together. All boats rise together. DSE is a must-attend event for me the year. I don't get to travel a lot, right? We're a state agency. We don't get to travel a lot, but this is the show that I make sure that I come to. A, because I'm on the advisory board, but B, because I want to see what's happening. You can't just go online and look at the technology. You have to come here. You have to see it. You have to touch it. Talk to the vendors. Talk to the manufacturers. Ask them the questions you want to ask them, not what everybody else is looking, right? There are great blogs out there and everything else, but come here and learn for yourself what's going on. See it for yourself. Touch it for yourself. Digital Signage Expo, simply amazing.